household items. Contact them at 876-956-0930 or 876-371-6781. Here to provide just what you need.
Silent night. Christiana community with churches, police, business people, schools, and service clubs invites you to their choral service Tuesday, December 12, 2023. The road march begins at
A very pleasant morning to you. It is now 6:30. It is now time for the NRP Break of the Day newscast right here on this station, the National Religious Partnership Media and Radio. A very pleasant morning to you. Welcome now to our platforms right here on nrpmediaja.com, also Facebook and YouTube at nrpmediaja. It's Monday, December 4. I am Leon Nash with the NRP Break of Day News. Here are the headlines. Chief Justice Brian Sykes says the number of persons being convicted from among crime producers is cause for concern. Too many lotto scammers being let off the hook due to investigation failures and timely release of digital analysis. Motorcyclists feature heavily in most of the 389 road fatalities since the start of the year. And in sport, defending champions Wi-Fi United clipped former champions Manchonil CC 1-0 in the Portland FA Western Union Major League games on Sunday. The news today is brought to you courtesy of NRP Radio, reaching you where you are, no boundaries, no limitations. And just to remind you that NRP Radio broadcasts 24 hours per day, 365 days per year for your listening pleasure.
Hi, I'm Genevieve.
And I'm Kalisha. And we are the Chryso Praises. You're listening to NRP Media and Radio. Reaching you where you are. No boundaries, no limitations.
And now for the news. Chief Justice Brian Sykes says a fix is needed to correct what he says is the percentage number of persons being convicted for violent crimes, considering the small number of those crime producers evident in the country. Speaking recently at an awards banquet put on by the Montego Bay Chamber of Commerce recently, Justice Sykes said it is troubling if the figures bear out that only about 30% of those arrested for crimes are convicted, whether through bench or jury trial. He said that what is suggested that he said what is I beg your pardon. He said what this suggests is that draconian laws and harsh penalties by themselves will not produce the desired result of reducing crime by apprehending the perpetrators. He said the reason behind all this is that despite the best efforts of those in the justice system, the figures suggest that enough of the crime producers are not being caught, charged, and convicted.
What we can say is that of all the cases that have gone to trial, both the judges, when there are bench trials, and the juries, when there are jury trials, 70% of them, the judge and the jury reject. That's what that means. So, a lot to think about.
And the Justice Sykes says the present situation begs certain questions about the efficacy and efficiency of the country's criminal justice system.
Why is the conviction rate less than 30%? If our statistician is correct that In other places, there's a range from 60 to 80%. So, is it poor adjudication by judges, poor adjudication by juries, poor investigation, poor prosecution? Is it that there are many cases that are being brought to court that should never have been brought to court? Is it the effectiveness of defense counsel or all of the above? These are things for you to think about and important questions that need to be examined. And I am fully aware of the misleading nature of statistics when you're just dealing with percentages and not hard numbers.
That was Chief Justice Brian Sykes. Meanwhile, Chief Justice Brian Sykes, in a wide-ranging discussion, warned that law enforcers might be losing the fight against especially lotto scammers due to the length of time being taken to investigate and submit evidence which should be used in a trial. According to Justice Sykes, when the statute regarding lotto scamming was introduced, the police depended on printed documents seized. However, he says now that criminals have digitized their operations, it has become more difficult to find, analyze, and present in time for trials the evidence to be considered for a conviction. Justice Sykes says that this needs serious attention, as in the recent East Circuit in Trelawney in particular, 57% of cases there had to be disposed of without a trial or a plea, as the report about the examination of devices seized was not available, and no response as to when those reports would be presented.
So, the lotto scammers have now learned a simple thing. If I keep the information in electronic form on my smartphone, on my computer, on my laptop, chances are the matter won't get to trial. So it means that if we're going to be talking about the control of crime, we have to address those kinds of issues, because it does not really matter what the penalty for a crime is if the likelihood of being convicted is low, and that assumes that you will even get to a trial. So I would want to suggest that in addition to looking at the laws and the penalties and so on, we have to resolve the question of what happens in the intermediate steps between arrest and trial.
That was Chief Justice Brian Sykes. You're tuned to NRP Radio. It's NRP News. The time is 6:38. In other news now, President of the Montego Bay Chamber of Commerce and Industry, Oral Heaven, has called for more to be done regarding the timeline given for the completion of work on the Cornwall Regional Hospital in Montego Bay. Speaking at the Commerce's Awards function on the weekend, Mr. Heaven pointed out that the health and well-being of the citizens of St. James is being affected due to what he says is the slow pace of work on the health facility. Recently, Health Minister Dr. Christopher Tofton indicated that there was a 30-month timeline to completing work on the health facility. However, Mr. Evans says both the chamber and the citizens served by the Cornwall Regional Hospital deserve a quicker turnaround time.
Our residents deserve access to world-class medical amenities, and it is our duty as a business advocate group to ensure that this well-needed facility becomes a reality.
That was President of the Montego Bay Chamber of Commerce and Industry, Oral Heaven. There have been 389 road fatalities since the start of the year, and this is cause for concern. This is the view of Vice Chairman of the National Road Safety Council, NRSC, Dr. Lucien Jones. We have more from Gafar Ellis.
Speaking in an interview with NRP News, Dr. Jones says the figure includes a 56-year-old female pedestrian who was killed in a crash near Passagefort Drive in St. Catherine on Sunday. Dr. Jones says since the start of the year, 125 of the 389 road deaths were motorcyclists, and the trend continues. He added that for the first 4 days of this month, 5 crashes have occurred, and of that number of persons dead, 5 were motorcyclists. Dr. Jones says this is a cause for concern, as despite the increased compliance rate for motorists in abiding by the road code, There is just too many road fatalities.
There are consequences for speeding, for not wearing your seatbelt, for not wearing your helmet, for driving under the influence of alcohol. There are consequences that we're trying to tell people that we need to be extremely careful on our road, not only because there are consequences in terms of getting a fine or getting a ticket, but you may also get injured and you may also die. So the message really for now and the end of December is that people need to be very cautious on the roads, drive within the speed limit, don't drink alcohol and drive, don't smoke marijuana and drive, put on your seatbelt, put on your helmet. If you're a pedestrian, don't wear dark colored clothes at night. People can see you, look once, look twice, look even 3 times. And let us all live to enjoy America's response. Happy New Year.
As chairman of the National Road Safety Council, NRCS, Dr. Lucian Jones. I am Gafar Ellis for NRP News.
Thank you, Gafar. Finally, the People's National Party says it notes the ruling of the ICJ on December 1 in the Guyana and Venezuela border dispute involving the Essequibo region, and in good faith and in the spirit of a long-standing friendship has requested that the government of Venezuela adheres to the ruling. The court ruled recently that Venezuela should not seek to modify the situation because the status quo remains or must remain regardless of the outcome of its referendum on December 3. The PNP informed that it stands in solidarity with Guyana and the position of CARICOM that reaffirms the prohibition under international law against one state unilaterally seizing, annexing, or incorporating the territory of another state. The PNP says it has urged Venezuela not to engage in any form of aggression towards the Caribbean nation, Guyana, but to participate in and abide by the current international legal proceedings to resolve this dispute. The PNP has also urged CARICOM to intercede to ensure a formidable diplomatic solution that will result in a resolution in the best interest of all parties and the region. You're listening to news on NRP Radio, your primary Christian source for news, sports, and the weather on nrpmediaja.com, reaching you where you are, no boundaries, no limitations. This information package comes to you by NRP Radio, where you are, no boundaries, definitely no limitations. And now let's give you some sporting information, and today's information comes to you courtesy of Hepburn's Glass. They are located at 13 Chisholm Avenue in Kingston, Jamaica. Let's hear from our sponsor for this segment, and we come right back to continue the news right here on this station.
Hepburn's Glass Supplies is the latest trend-setting supplier of glass and mirrors in the industry. We specialize in tinted and clear glasses, as well as mirrors for all your windows, doors, and closets at very competitive prices. To maximize your shopping experience, we stock 316 and 1/8 mirror thickness and 316 and quarter thickness in our entire stock of float glasses. We have in stock gloves, cutters, and suction cups at unbeatable prices. Our customer service is second to none, with same-day cutting for your specific measurements. Visit our office at 13 Chisholm Avenue, Kingston 13. Call us at 9080962 or email hepburn.glass@gmail.com. Hepburn's Glass, quality service is our priority.
And now for our sports stories. Defending champions Wi-Fi United clipped former champions Manchester CC 1-0 from an Andre Thomas 72nd minute strike as a progressive Fitzroy Allen goal helped squeezed Kensington 1-0 in the Portland FA Western Union Major League games on Sunday. On Saturday, in the Portland FA Western Union Major League, Rio United clipped former champions Ujama CC 2-1 as Rio got their first 3 points. Dwight Campbell, second, and Keldon Buckley, 29th, scored for Rio United as Sanjay Parson, 73, or his 73rd, got the consolation for Ujama Community Club. Finally, Harry Winks struck a stoppage time winner as Leicester beat West Brom 2-1 on Saturday to stay on top of the champions as Ipswich maintained their promotion push. After a blistering start to life under Enzo Maresca, Leicester had won just one of their previous 4 matches and looked set to drop points once more at the Hawthorns. Kiernan Dewsbury Hall opened the scoring with a header 18 minutes from time, but in form, West Brom appeared to have snatched a point when Josh Maja scrambled home an equalizer in the 89th minute. The Badgers then went looking for a winner, but were caught on the counter-attack at the death. Dewsbury Hall led the charge from deep inside the Leicester half and squared for Winks to tap into an unguarded net. That's sports on NRP Newscast at break of day, brought to you by Hepburn's Glass, located at 13 Chisholm Avenue in Kingston. We promise to bring you a good news story as we can, or are aware of any event or person whose good story we should highlight. Please send this information to our email address at nationalreligiousmediaja@gmail.com. That's nationalreligiousmediaja@gmail.com, or call 876-336-9928. That's the local news and sports. Stand by now for the latest international news, courtesy of the Voice of America.
This is VOA News. I'm Tommy McNeil. The Israeli military renewed its calls for mass evacuation from the southern town of Khan Yunis, where tens of thousands of displaced Palestinians have sought refuge in recent weeks.
Israel's widening its ground offensive and bombarding targets across the Gaza Strip. The expanded offensive, following the collapse of a week-long ceasefire, is aimed at eliminating Gaza's Hamas rulers, whose October 7 attack into Israel ignited the war. Israel appears to be racing to strike a death blow against Hamas, if that's even possible, before it's pressed into another ceasefire. But the increased tempo of operations, which have reportedly killed hundreds of civilians, could further accelerate that timetable and render even larger parts of the isolated territory unlivable. I'm Charles de la Tasman.
And Israel and Hamas are not yet willing to return to the negotiating table to resume a temporary ceasefire, but Israel says it's trying to minimize civilian casualties.
The United States affirmed that Israel is heeding its calls to minimize civilian casualties. National Security Council spokesperson John Kirby appeared on ABC's This Week program.
They published online a map of places where people could go to avoid combat. There's not a whole lot of modern militaries that would do that. I mean, to telegraph their punches in that way. So they are making an effort.
But Israel and Hamas are still reluctant to negotiate a new truce and the release of more hostages. Veronica Valderas Iglesias, VOA News, Washington.
U.S. military says 3 commercial ships in the Red Sea were struck by ballistic missiles fired from Houthi-controlled Yemen, and a U.S. warship shot down 3 drones in self-defense during the hours-long assault. The Iranian-backed Houthi rebels claimed responsibility. The attacks marked an escalation in a series of maritime attacks the Mideast linked to the Hamas war. This is VOA News.
That was the latest international news, courtesy of the Voice of America. Now for the weather report and forecast right here on NRP Radio. The National Met Service is reporting that there is a significant feature of a ridge across Jamaica. The ridge is expected to remain until today. A trough is then expected to move into the vicinity of Jamaica and to remain for the rest of the week. In the 24-hour forecast, this morning, mostly sunny. This afternoon and evening, isolated afternoon showers across sections of eastern, south, central parishes and hilly areas. In the 3-day forecast after today, Tuesday, mostly sunny in the morning. Isolated afternoon showers across sections of eastern parishes, south central parishes, and hilly areas. On Wednesday and Thursday, mostly sunny in the morning. Isolated afternoon showers across sections of central, western parishes, and hilly areas. In terms of other current regional weather features, there is a cold front across the western Gulf of Mexico. An area of low pressure is also across Panama. That is the latest weather report and forecast in the break of day newscast. And with that, we've come to the end of our news presentation for this morning. But before we go, here are the headlines once again. Chief Justice Brian Sykes says that the number of persons being from among crime producers is cause for concern. Too many lotto scammers being let off the hook due to investigation failures and timely release of digital analysis. Motorcyclists featuring heavily in most of the 389 road fatalities since the start of the year. And in sport, defending champions Wi-Fi United clipped former champions Manchonil CC 1-0 in the Portland FA Western Union Major League games on Sunday. The full package of news today came to you courtesy of NRP Radio, reaching you where you are, no boundaries, no limitations. Here is our invitation for you to join us again this evening at 6:30 for the NRP Evening News Roundup. Remember we invite your feedback to this newscast via WhatsApp on 63369928 or any of the platforms that you are listening. We invite you also to subscribe to our YouTube channel at NRP Media JA and click on the notification bell. The same applies to our Facebook pages at NRP Media JA and under the name LEAON Nash. Our radio platform at nrpmediaja.com is always operating 24/7, 365 days per year for your listening pleasure. Join this growing medium, feel fulfilled and informed. I am Leon Nash for NRP News, wishing for you a good rest of your day. It's now 6:53 right here on the station.
Four Seasons Sports and Equipment, the Sports Closet, now located at shop number 3, Leaders Plaza, Nashville, Mandeville, Manchester. Call them today at 876-613-7429. Cellular phone 876-363-8323 or 876-546-0630. Yes, you asked for it and now you got it. Four Seasons Sports and Equipment. Shop with us for a wide range of sporting goods and equipment. It's Four Seasons Sports and Equipment. Sports Closet, you'll never go asking for anymore.
Hepburn's Glass Supplies is the latest trend-setting supplier of glass and mirrors in the industry. We specialize in tinted and clear glasses, as well as mirrors for all your windows, doors, and closets at very competitive prices. To maximize your shopping experience, we stock 316 and 1/8 mirror thickness and 316 and quarter thickness in our entire stock of float glasses. We have in stock gloves, cutters, and suction cups at unbeatable prices. Our customer service is second to none, with same-day cutting for your specific measurements. Visit our office at 13 Chisholm Avenue, Kingston 13. Call us at 908-096 or email glass@gmail.com. Hepburn's Glass, quality service is our priority.
Radio listener, let's go heart to heart. On a Monday, 7:15 in the evening,
right here on the National Religious Partnership Media and Radio, broadcasting on the platform of nrpmediaja.com. Yes, it will be the Heart to Heart talk show with a difference with host Minister Tyrell Morgan. It's a program which covers the full gamut of issues, some of which you are sometimes uncomfortable to talk about. So once again, it's your invitation to join the Heart to Heart talk show on the National Religious Partnership Media and Radio, broadcasting on the platform of nrpmediaja.com every Monday evening at 7:15 and again on a Friday evening at 5 o'clock. Check out the YouTube channel at Heart to Heart Talk Show JA or Facebook at Heart to Heart Talk Show JA. Yes, Heart to Heart is now on nrpmediaja.com. So have a heart and join us, will you?
All right, it's now about 4 minutes going up to the hour of 7 o'clock right here on NRP Radio. We thank you so much for keeping it locked right here on this platform. Remember, we are here 24 hours per day. We're standing by for the program that is coming up next on this station. That is going to be Let the Word Speak with Reverend Paul Blair. That's coming up on top of the hour. Please stay tuned right here on this platform for that. So that's nrpmediaja.com. Please log on to the radio platform now as we end our newscast for our new news presentation for this morning. So log on to nrpmediaja.com for the Let the Word Speak with Reverend Paul Blair coming your way. And we'll be back right here on the YouTube and Facebook channel at 6:30 this evening for another newscast.